Wagwan, it's your boy Demuir. Yo, I should say just off of the top, it's dope to be back. 2022, exciting times, uncertain times continue, and just wanted to send a shout out to our community for your patience and understanding. We needed time off. Shouts out to Juan and Andy for making things happen here on a consistent basis. These are the guys behind the camera, so to speak, doing the editing and the graphics and all the cool things you see. So much love from us to you. We appreciate it, and we're looking forward to doing more in 2022. What's up, fam? It's your boy Demuir here. It is a pleasure to be back in the mix with things. This video is all about Omicron versus your plans in 2022 and some key tips I have that I think will help you in terms of how you should approach the year in terms of, achieving whatever goals you set out to do as it pertains to underground electronic music. But before we jump into things, what I need from you is that SLC. Hit subscribe, like, comment, and more importantly, hit the notifications bell to stay in touch with the new videos that we have up and coming. All right, so let's get right into this one. These are things, or process or things that I've done over time. And I've modified a bit, but it tends to lead to some pretty good results that work for me. So I'm here to share these things with you. So point number one, first and foremost, ideally, you want to do this well before the whole January 1st New Year's resolution vibe and motivation. Ideally, you want to do this stuff as early as October in terms of thinking about the next year. But my first point here is reflection. You want to be able to reflect on the highs and lows of your career or things you've accomplished in the year as it pertains to your music goals and DJing and production. Also want to have a think on people, your interactions, new players that you've met, new business relationships that you've created in your network that you want to ensure that continue. And, the whole thing about reflection is to make it very brief. You certainly don't want to dwell in it. I kind of surprised myself in terms of, the different things that have happened and being accomplished. And as well as the lows and things that I want to make sure I avoid into the future. But do not spend too much time there, whether it's great or positive. It's good to acknowledge it, but don't spend too much time. It's very important to think about the future and make sure you're executing appropriately to get the things you want out of the future. Point number two is to think very clearly on where do you want to be. So, you're starting at point A, January 1st. This is where you're at, but what do you want to be able to say, at the end of October in 2022 or the end of December, so to speak, depending on the goals you want to accomplish. That needs to be crystal clear, and I think it also needs to align pretty nicely with whatever your longer term plans are. And if you don't have a longer term plan, I highly encourage it, because when you have a very clear set of goals or a destination that you're looking to get towards, certain setbacks or disappointments won't be that big of a deal, because you'll find that in reflection or in that particular moment against your longer term goals versus your short term goals, it's just not something that needs to happen in that space of time, and therefore you can just move on and not dwell on those said disappointments. So make sure that both your short-term and long-term goals are very clear. And point number three, this is a huge one, and I heard this in my my corporate experience, and it makes me laugh today, which is the whole statement and realization and fact that hope is not a strategy. And let me just take it down to more of a personal level. So to hope that you will do something different in terms of certain habits or whatever that you know are impeding you and whatever it is you're trying to achieve, to hope that it changes is just not the type of internal language you want to have with yourself. Rather, you want to, make some concrete, plans and actions to combat that at the end of the day. Like saying, I hope that label doesn't put out another cheesy cover. And the probability of that when you weigh it out is something that's way outside of your scope of control. Well, when it comes to personal things where you say, listen, this is not a strategy. I need to make some real changes in action here. You commit to those particular actions, and then you have a different thing that looks very different than hoping for change. So remember, hope is not a strategy. And just to tack on to all of that, another important point about, the difference of hope versus faith is just understanding that don't necessarily wish for things to be better. Wish that you were better in every situation. That's much different than hope, and it actually builds faith, because when you know you're putting in the solid work ethic, when you know you're outworking motherfuckers on a constant basis, you know that you're building a huge faith component there, and that is within your sphere of control. And point number 4, I'm just going to title this people, and it's to ask yourself 2 simple questions when it comes to people that you engage with on a regular basis, or the people that you want to surround yourself with in the future. And the first question is, who do I know, or who is in my group that makes me better? Like, who can you confidently say that, they make you better? They force you to be better than where you are today. And then conversely, on the other side, is to ask yourself, who makes me think twice about what I'm trying to achieve? Who sort of pulls me down or adds a negative tone in different conversations we're having? Because it's quite possible to have a disagreement with a person that at the other end of that conversation, on the other side rather, it's all about them trying to make you better. It's all done in good spirits. Some of the words that might come out may be emotional and may hurt, but at the end of the day, the root of that person is always centered in how can they make you better. So ask those 2 questions. I always ask that of the people I surround myself with, and I telling you, every year it shrinks, and I really don't give a fuck. I have no time to waste with toxic people who are just like, trying to lodge or lobby their problems onto me. I don't have fucking time for it, and I just don't have the space to give it that level of attention, because that's more of a take relationship, and I'm just looking to be around people who can push me to be better than who I am today. And point number 5 is to cement things with action and a routine or some sort of schedule that will keep you consistent. This is by far the most important point in this video, because you can think a lot of things, you can have the best of intentions, but if you're not cementing it with real action, consistent and deliberate action that move you towards where you want to go, it's all just kind of pointless dreaming conversation and motivated, so to speak, conversation that does not get anywhere remotely close to the target. So very important to do this. And if it feels like a lot, scale it back. Think about the things that are important to you. Prioritize. Like, I like to work with lists, so prioritize that and say, all right, the first 1 to 2 hours of my day are dedicated to this piece and the skill set I'm trying to learn. Make that shit happen. Do not accept excuses. Do not accept distractions. It's just inevitable. When you want to do extraordinary things, they demand a lot of you much more than what you are doing today, which is why you need to cement it with action and build a schedule that enforces consistency and ultimately discipline. And there you have it. Those are my top 5 pieces or tips, things to think about as you are planning in this new year of 2022 with Omicron looming in the background, as well as your plans and how do you respond. Let me know your thoughts on it. I usually join a conversation within 48 hours of posting these videos, so I'd love to hear what you got to say. And the conversation doesn't have to end here. I got a Discord channel that continues to grow with a lot of like-minded individuals, sharing tracks, sharing tips and pointers, and everybody's just focused on, helping one another out and making themselves better, which is the type of community I want to be in. So make sure you check us out. Much love and respect to you. Peace.